have honestly never seen a company fumble the bag so hard like the WNBA fumbled Caitlin Clark. It sucks that so much of it was riddled with so much drama and so much negativity.
That's not just an opinion, that's the epitaph for what might be the single greatest mismanagement of a generational island in the history of professional sports. This wasn't just a mistake, wasn't a simple error in judgment. This was a colossal league-defining blunder, a complete and total fumble of a golden goose. And now the bill is coming. They thought they could build an empire on Caitlin Clark's back and pay her in pennies. They were wrong. And today, I'm going to show you the story they don't want you to know. This is the story of how Caitlin Clark is getting her ultimate revenge on the Women's National Basketball Association, not by scoring points on the court, but by exposing their incompetence in the one place that truly hurts them, the boardroom. This is happening right now as the Sharks are circling rival leagues, smelling blood in the water, all because the WNBA made a fatal error. They disrespected the one person who could save them. Stick with me, because we're about to pull back the curtain on the or charade. It all started as a fairy tale, didn't it? The script was written perfectly. The most electrifying college player in the generation of phenol who shattered ratings and captured the nation's attention was coming to the WNBA. Was supposed to be a coronation. With those words, the future of the league was supposed to be secure. Caitlin Clark wasn't just another #1 draft pick. She was a cultural movement packed into a 6-foot frame. The evidence was immediate and undeniable. The arenas started selling out. The ticket prices skyrocketed. The cameras followed her everywhere. She was single-handedly making the league more relevant than it had ever been. But don't take my word for it. The numbers don't lie. A fever
are going to be over 200,000 higher than the next highest total attendance in.
That's not an increase. That's a revolution. She was a walking, talking three-point shooting stimulus package for years old. League had been struggling, fighting for relevance, fighting for viewership, and fighting for financial stability. And then she arrived. Let's be brutally honest here. Caitlin Clark saved the WNBA from itself. She was the catalyst, the golden goose, the one player who could finally lift the entire enterprise into the mainstream stratosphere. She delivered on every single promise. The league's viewership was up a staggering 21%. Even with her missing games later in the season, she did her part. She held up her end of the bargain. And how did the league, the very institution she saved from hemorrhaging money, repay her for this miracle? They betrayed her. They rewarded her with a level of disrespect so profound it borders on sabotage. Started with a contract, the WNBA, the league she was single-handedly elevating, signed her to a 4-year deal worth a total of just $338,000 and $56. That's about $85,000 a year for the biggest star in the sport. It's an insult, but it gets so much worse when you add context. You want to see the real, unfiltered disrespect. Let's compare her salary to her male counterpart in the NBA. Look at his rookie salary, which was around $55 million for 4 years. And then you look at Caitlin Clark's $38,000 salary that she signed for 4 years. And that is about the same amount more. It's around 162 times more. 162 times more, not 10%. More, not double. 162 times. That isn't a wage gap. It's a canyon. It is the league screaming from the rooftops that they did not value their savior. And this financial insult was just the beginning of the betrayal. It set the tone for everything that was to come. Because when a league shows they do don't value a player on paper. It sends a message to everyone else. She's fair game. The disrespect on the balance sheet quickly translated into physical abuse on the court. Almost immediately, a disturbing pattern emerged. Clark became the target of overly aggressive defense, a relentless barrage of cheap shots and flagrant fouls that consistently pushed the boundaries of fair play. We all saw it. The hip checks, the shots. When she was in the air, the off-ball hits designed to intimidate. It was a clear and coordinated effort to physically break down the league's biggest star. And what did the WNBA do about it? Nothing. The referees swallowed their whistles. The league office stayed silent. They were happy to sell her jerseys and tickets, but they were not prepared to protect their investment. The inaction reached a boiling point in what has become an infamous incident during game. Video evidence and liberty eaters appeared to capture star player Brittany Griner directing a racial commented Clark. The backlash was immense. Fans were outraged at the apparent double standard, arguing that any other player would have faced severe consequences for similar actions. The league had video evidence, a chance to draw a line in the sand and protect its biggest asset from all forms of harassment. And what did they do? Nothing. No investigation, no punishment, just silence. They hung Clark out to dry. They sent a message to the entirely. The rules don't apply when it comes to Caitlin Clark. This systematic failure, this combination of financial disrespect and the refusal to protect her physically and verbally, could only lead to one outcome. It was inevitable, it was tragic, and it was preventable. On September 5, 2025, the announcement came down. Caitlin Clark was officially ruled out for the remainder of the WNBA season with a right groin injury. This wasn't a freak accident. This was the receipt for the WNBA negligence. It was the culmination of months of abuse that the league condoned through its own silence. They let their golden goose get dismantled, piece by piece, right in front of them. And she was sidelined, recovering from an injury that was a direct result of their failure. The ultimate revenge began to take shape because other people were watching, and unlike the WNBA, they knew exactly what Caitlin Clark was worth, while the WNBA was paying her less than a mid-level accountant. A new 3-on-3 league called Unrivaled came forward with an offer. They offered her more than $1 million per year, plus something the WNBA would never dream of giving her: an equity stake in the league itself. They weren't just offering her a salary, they were offering her ownership. They were offering her the respect the WNBA refused to show. And that was just the opening shot. The WNBA had fumbled the bag, and now the rest of the world was lining up to pick it up. This is where the story turns. This is where the WNBA betrayal transforms into Caitlin Clark's revenge. For months, the league operated under the delusion that they held all the power, that they were the only game in town. They believed they could underpay and undervalue their biggest star because she had no other options. They were about to get a wake-up call so jarring it would shake the very foundations of the league. Came from a completely unexpected source, a music legend, an entrepreneur who saw the WNBA, his incompetence, for what it was. And I feel like there could be a team overseas too with a lab to snatch Caitlin Clark away from us, and gave her a crazy offer. I mean, iCube was about to give her $5 million play and less than 10 games. And the take 3 sell, the money is there. And if these owners are smart, I could definitely see more Daddy and Me players. $5 million for less than 10 games. The WNBA was paying her about $85,000 for an entire 40-game season, and Ice Cube was ready to offer her millions for a handful of appearances. But even that wasn't the final number. That wasn't the offer that would become the ultimate act of revenge. The official offer from Ice Cube's Big Three League was a staggering $15 million for one 10-week season. Let's put that in perspective, because the numbers are so off. Third, they need to be repeated. The WNBA, a $338,056 for 4 years. Ice Cube's Big Three, $15 million for 10 weeks. This isn't just an offer. This is a public humiliation. This is Ice Cube holding a megaphone to the world and declaring the WNBA evaluation of its greatest asset is a joke. This is the free market correcting a grotesque error. This is revenge. It's a statement carved in stone that Caitlin Clark is bigger than the league that tried to contain her. She doesn't need them, but God. Do they need her? The WNBA had their chance. They had a generational talent, a walking, sold-out arena, the person who financially saved their league, and they threw it all away at a cash the WNBA elevates. Though he could have been even better. He messed it up. You have every right to be furious. This is the story of a league so blinded by its own arrogance that it couldn't see the gold mine right in front of it. They chose disrespect over investment. They chose negligence over protection. And now they are paying the price. The $15 million offer isn't just about money. It's about validation. It validates every fan who felt Clark was being mistreated. It validates the reality of her market value. And it serves as the ultimate revenge on a league that simply didn't deserve her. But this is far from over. The WNBA is in full-blown panic mode. They see the headlines. They hear the chatter. They know deep down that they have been exposed. The revenge isn't that Caitlin Clark is taking the offer tomorrow. The revenge is that the offer exists. It hangs over the league like a guillotine, has permanently altered the power dynamic. Clark now has leverage that is unheard of for a WNBA player. So what happens next? Her WNBA contract isn't forever. The Big Three offer is real, and it's on the table. The unrivaled league is waiting in the wings with an ownership stake. The WNBA thought they could control Caitlin Clark, but they only ever controlled a piece of paper. Now that her true astronomical value has been exposed for the world to see, have they already lost her for good? Did their own greed and negligence not only cost them their biggest star, but destroy their own future in the process? The game is no longer being played on their court, and they have no one to blame but themselves.